Take that, rewind it back. Ursher got the voice to make your booty go.
We gon' start this thing on right. Say what? We got the start out in the house tonight. We gon' start this thing on right. Say what? We got the ATL in the house tonight. We got down to come and get free.
Hey everyone. All right, so we're out in the bee yard now. We just had part 3 of Do You Want to Be a Beekeeper? And we talked about boxes, follower boards, top feeders, bottle feeders, supers, the frames, when to put them on, the deep boxes, the frames for the deep boxes, and what to expect when you go out to an inspection. So this is for the newbies. I know there's a lot of experienced beekeepers already know this stuff, but you got a lot of new people for some reason are interested in beekeeping. So I'm going to go in here today, let you get an idea of what you'll see, and I'll let you know what I'm looking for. All I'm doing is I want to see this queen's laying pattern. I requeened them about, I want to say 2 to 3 weeks ago. And the last time I looked in here, I wasn't like quite thrilled with her laying pattern, but looked like she had just gotten started. I saw eggs and little larvae, but no cap brood or anything. So the queen breeder that I bought her from, he said to let him know how she was doing. I did buy another one for him for this hive right here, and she's doing great. Laying pattern is fine, but this one we have yet to give a report. So let's get started. Let's take this off my sun visor. And what I have here is I'm feeding them on the top. So you'll see that this is not a double stack. It's just one brood chamber and I'm feeding them. So I use the frame of a super to feed them. Okay, looks like they finished all their feed, which is good. So I won't feed them anymore. So I may end up taking this off. All the jars are empty, which is a good sign. And I gave them that to help them, start rearing brood. So from what I see right here, it looks like, we'll tell. I have to take the cover off. Sometimes you can look through here, these holes in the top, and see whether they're well populated or not. These 2 holes here. And I got my bee visitor visiting me. He met me at the door this morning. I don't know what it is about Fridays, but I'll share a little joke with you. Every Friday I come around the corner and right where my sign is that says beware bees, they sting to defend their hive. I've gotten stung right there like, boy, I want to say 3 or maybe 2 Fridays in a row. And that's the bee that's buzzing me now. I got right there and he comes out, boom, and just hits me. He got me in the nostril one time and then he got me behind the ear the next time. So that's why it's always good to wear your bee suit out in the yard. And if you notice, I haven't smoked these. These are, I want to say, a gentle stock. Not really, really nice, but they can get rowdy, but they're okay, So what I like to do is, I like to see, like right down between here, I like to see that full of bees. And that's how I tell if my population is growing or decreasing. So if I look down between there and I can see all the way to the bottom, that's not good. That means the colony is not growing. So what I can tell just from looking in here, beekeepers, and these are things that you need to observe to tell when your hive is declining. I can see right here is full. Right down here is full of bees. And then as it gets over here, it starts to thin out. I can actually almost see the bottom on this row right here. So that means they're working their way this way. So what I'm going to do is start from this side this time, and I just want to see the queen's laying pattern. So I'm just going to smoke the entrance. I don't have to, and I don't like to brag that I don't have to smoke the bees, but I like to show the beginners what's necessary. So just because we're going to have people watching this, you smoke the entrance. There's not much bees on top, so I'll just give them a light, a light little smoke. And if I wasn't filming, I wouldn't even do that. So what you want to do here, the hive beetles hide under these. If you have them, I usually run my hive tool along here to kill any that the bees have in jail. The bees are propolized underneath here and lock them in jail. And so what happened is when you lift this up, they'll come running out. So let's see if I got all of them this time. The last time I did that, a couple still came out. So nope, I don't see any under there. So we'll just put this off to the side. And let's get the frame holder. I'll put it on this side. You know what? Let me put it on this side. And then we'll start on this side. I think the last time I started over here. So this time I want to start here. So I'm going to skip over all the honey things and we want to get right to the brood. So this right here. All right, this is a food frame, which is good. That's right on the end. If you see, they got this full of nectar, honey, pollen, and bee bread, both sides, which is good. That means they're gathering in resources. So let's put this over here on the frame holder. So those are things you want to notice on your inspection. Make sure that they have enough food and resources. And if they don't, then you have to start feeding them. All right, so here is a frame with brood on it. All right, from what I see here, the pattern looks okay so far. All right, so look at this pattern. You see that pattern? I wouldn't criticize this because she's just starting. Yeah, I do see some spots in it, but if you look around the edge, you can see pearly white larvae. And that's what you want to see, pearly white larvae. Yes, so this is good. Laying pattern. Like I say, she just started. It's a new queen. I won't criticize that pattern. So we'll get this one over to the end. And I'm just going to check a couple. So that means this hive should be rebounding. This is the hive that gave me honey in 6 months last year, 25 pounds. And then at the end of the year, they kind of regressed on me. So I've been watching them and paying attention very closely to this hive. All right, so, and you always want to use the sun to look down in the cells. You can see if there are eggs in there. So I see eggs. Yep, I see eggs right here. And this pattern is not that bad, or I shouldn't say bad at all. You got your honey. You got your honey rim right around here. Your food goes all the way around. You got a little bit of bee bread, nectar, and honey, and then you got eggs. So she's filled these back up. So far, I like what I see. I know I said I was going to do one more, but sometimes one more turns into one more. Like I say, I don't like to disrupt what they're doing, so I just want to see one more. I like what I see so far, and so that was good. All right, so these have just hatched out. Okay, so they got a lot of nectar in here, but I do see eggs and I do see little 3-day-old larvae in here. So it looks like she's doing her job so far. A little more honey than I want to see. Maybe that's because they don't have a super on top. Maybe I should go ahead and add my super back onto this, so they'll have somewhere to store the honey. Because right now I see them taking over some of the spots where she's supposed to lay there storing honey right in that area. So, and I noticed the brood chamber is all the way over to here. So I might want to change the brood section around. Yeah, see, this is a white frame, and I don't think she's doing anything on here. So I'll put this out here because I might rotate that and put it on the end. I want to see what she's doing in here on this side. Okay, yeah, see, they're storing lots of honey on this. Okay. All right, so what you see here is too much honey being stored on this frame. These are things that you got to pay attention to. See this? All of this is filled in with honey. This should be the laying area for the queen to lay. All of this right here should be for the queen to lay. And they're storing honey. Yep. As fast as the bees hatch out, they're putting honey in there. So that's something you want to pay attention to. So now I'm going to have to go a little further, because I notice all of this right here should be in the middle, because she has the brood on the end, and the middle, there's nothing going on over here. Yeah, see, there's my queenie. I don't know if you can see her right there. There she is, walking around on the frame. All right, so she's laying this one up, so that's fine. So when you put her back down, you just want to watch, make sure she's still in the middle, not close to the edge where she can get pinched on the frame. And just go ahead and put her back down in there because she liked the darkness. And I'll just leave that frame alone. I'll leave that frame alone. And so what I do, I'm going to rearrange their brood nest for it. They might not like it, but that's just me. I'm going to take this one out that has a lot of honey. And then the ones that have most of the baby bees on it, I'll put that down, slide that down here. And then we'll leave the one with the honey and the pollen. You want that in. And then I'll give them this one that's empty here. We'll put this on the outside so they can store honey in that one. So sometimes you have to help them out a bit. You only can do that when you know where these things go at and how the brood chamber should be set up. So the way they normally set it up is they have the honey on the two outside frames. Then you have your bee bread and pollen on the next frame to that. And same thing over here. And then your 6 frames will be in the middle. That'll be where the bees are being hatched. That'll be your brood section. So all I did is just rearrange that. And because this has so much honey on it, I'm going to put this one over here. Maybe they can just keep storing honey on that. We'll put that one right there. And then this one, let's see. Oh, I got it backwards. Okay, hold on. That's the one. That's the food. That has the bee bread. So let's slide this one. You know what? Let's keep that one there because that has more honey. And this one here, we can put in there. This has the bee bread. And, ooh, it's a funky looking frame though. What did they do here? Oh, wow. This frame looks weird. All right. We'll have to fix it one day. All right. So we'll get this one back in. Monitor it closely. Make sure we don't pinch any bees. There's always bees trying to get in between there. I don't know why they like that section. They're always trying to get in between there. Yep, one got pinched. I was trying to get him out, but okay. It's not the end of the world. All right, so that's good enough. I like what I saw. And let me just take a look on this end. Let's see what's going on here. See, this is where they should be storing the honey. They are storing some. There's the hive beetle, one hive beetle. And they got a little bit here on the outside. So, all right, we'll leave it alone. I'll leave it alone. The bees will figure it out, right? They know what's best. They know what's best for the hive. So we'll let them figure it out. Okay, I'm done with this one. Just want to do a quick inspection. All right, let's get that back. They got plenty of space on this side. I'm not sure why it's it was a strange one. She's like laying right here on this side when you want this in the middle and you want your food on the end. So what I kind of did was adjust the brood in a little bit, kept the pollen and the nectar out on the outside. Okay, so they have plenty of food. They don't need any feeding. So we'll leave that. We'll take the feeder off. I'll come back and check it probably in about 2 weeks, and then we'll stick a super on it, a honey super. We'll see how they do first. So this stays off. So we'll get the bees off of here. What you don't get off, you put your bee brush into action. All right. So those can stay there. They don't like me. I would leave my feeder top on, but what they do when you leave the feeder top on is they start propylizing it. So what I'm going to do is go get a screen inner cover for them and cover them up, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back with the screen inner cover. So this is what they're going to get. It's getting ready to get hot here in South Florida. So I like to use the screen inner covers in the summertime so that heat can come up through the screen and go out the edges of the cover. So we are done with this one for now. We'll cover them back up. And then we'll go over to the next one. So we have 2 in a row. And last night I did a oxalic acid treatment on the big hives. This one over here, they got a treatment last night. That was, I think, 4 of 5 treatments of oxalic acid. They had 5 mites the last time I did a mite count. That's a little bit too much that you want to see in your hive, but sometimes they can handle that. They can take the mite load and then they'll bring it back down. Or you can treat them, if you want to raise hygienic bees that take care of that, you can do that. See, my smoker's still going. So let's switch everything over here to the top. And this is another good thing about using the flat tops instead of the little house top deals. You can't put anything up there, they'll slide off. All right, let me move the camera down. So what we're doing on this one is just basically a 14-day inspection. I don't really like to go in and bother my bees, to be honest with you. But, these are things you got to keep on top of. All right, these girls here might be ready for a super. I can look down through the screen and see a whole lot of bees. And they're going to be done getting feeding. That's it for them. So this will be coming off also. So let me take this away. So, all right, I got the screen top cover to go on there, because we're taking that off. So let's give them some smoke. We'll give them some smoke at the entrance. Then we'll give them a little smoke down here at the top. Okay. And let's get the camera positioned. All right, let's see what we got going on in here. I didn't use my Calm today. Sometimes I just want to get in and out real quick. So let's line these girls up right there. All right, so their treatment is over. This is the one that I was treating for mites with the Appy Life VAR, which was like a thymol with eucalyptus and some other essential oils for mites. So they're done with the mite treatment. But before I put my honey super on, I have to read that label and see how long they say to wait, because you're not supposed to put the treatment on with the honey supers. It'll contaminate the honey. And also, there's a certain amount of wait time before you add a super. So I might hold off on this until I read that instructions, because I don't want to put a honey super on here and contaminate the honey. And then again, I don't want them to swarm either. So as I'm looking down these lines right here, between the bee space lines, I can see that they're nice and packed with bees. And that's what you want to see. That is what you want to see. So let me get one of these out. And I didn't squash them to get the hive beetle. See, there's one hive beetle on the bottom running. I let him out of jail, but he'll be outside the hive. He won't be crawling back in the hive. So the bees might forgive me. I put it out on the ground. So usually they'll crawl back down in the hive. All right, so let's see what they're doing on the outside here. All right, so what they are doing on the outside is they have just made it down here, and they're starting to store nectar and pollen on the ends. So that's good. That means they're expanding. They're getting ready to run out of room. So it is time for a super to go on here. But as I say, I need to check that label and see how long they said to wait before the treatment is over, before you put the new honey super on here. This is heavy. Yep, this is a food frame. It has pollen. It has nectar. And I'm looking to see if I see some eggs in there, but it looks like the cells are nice and shiny. That's why the sun is shining. Yep, this side has nectar too. All right, so this is a food frame. So they have the food frame on the ends. That's good. Let's slide that one down. Let's take a peek at one more. And this queen was replaced too. Well, actually, this was a cutout that I had done from a friend of mine's house. They were outside in the roof eave, and they had a queen. Then the queen died. And I say, okay, either I can let them. Oh, talking about the queen. Look at that. See the queen right there? She's on here looking for spaces to lay. There's the queen for this one. Yep, the queen is on there. And there's her laying pattern. I just got to watch her, make sure she don't fly off the frame. I see her, she's down at the end. So if you look at that laying pattern, that's a good laying pattern. So there's my queen. I'm going to wait till she gets in the middle, and then I'll slide her back down in there. Okay, great. She's right in the center. Let's get her back in. And I'm going to push her back up where she was. And that's it. That's all I wanted to see. Saw the queen. I didn't look for any eggs. I'm kind of sure there's eggs in there. I see cat brood. nectar, pollen, bee bread. So I got my 4s, and I didn't get my 3s, but I don't want to dig through here. The other 3 is the queen, eggs, pupae, or larvae. Which, you know what, I did see some 6-day, 5-day-old larvae in there, pearly white. So that's great. So I'm not going any further. Next time I come, this will have a super on it. I just need to find out the wait time before I put it on there, because I just treated them with Appy Life Var for varroa mite. And that's an organic treatment with essential oils. All right. So they won't get any more feed. That's it for their feeding. I've got them going. That's what I like to do, get them going. That's what I mean when I say get them going. When you come out here, you start with your nucleus and you let them grow out the frames. And you look down between the spaces here and you make sure it's jam-packed with bees and you can't see the bottom. If you can see the bottom, that's fine. But if every time you come in and you still see the bottom, something is going on in your hive. Stop a minute and inspect it and find out what's going on. Look for the queen. Do a mite check. Check her laying pattern. Make sure it's a solid one and it's not spotty where she's running out of sperm or she's failing. So this queen here is a new queen. She's probably a little bit close to a year. And the one over here is a 2025. So she's a fresh queen. So maybe like next year, this time, I'll think about replacing her because the older queens like to swarm a lot. So what we're going to do is give them a screen cover. We've taken the feeder off. So we're going to give them a screen inner cover. So because there's a lot of bees in here, it's going to get hot. They got water at the front and the bees give off heat. So they need to get that heat dispersed out of the hive so the brood chamber is not too hot. So that's why you'll see them at the front entrance fanning a lot. Sometimes they'll be at the entrance fanning, and what they're doing is circulating air through the hive to cool it down. Or either you'll see them hanging out on the front of the beehive in a big clump. That's called bearding. That's because the inner side of the brood chamber is getting overheated. So they are trying to maintain the temperature. And what helps a lot is, you might not be able to see it, but I have a slatted rack here. This is about 2 inches of space where the bees can go down out of the chamber and just hang out at the bottom of the hive instead of going outside to beard. So what we're going to do, well, you know what? Let me take this back off and let get the bees inside. We got some bees here hanging out on the feeder. So we're going to take the bee brush and just scoop them off right on top of the frames here. You can flick them down right on top of the frames. And that'll be good for them. Let's put this away so they don't land on it or follow it. Okay, so these are some of the things that you'll be seeing when you get ready to do an inspection. That's what you want to look. And when they say how many frames you have covered, that this is what they're talking about. All the bees, you have like 1, 2, 3, 10 frames in here. Sometimes you'll see a section with covered bees. You just count the number of frames that the bees covered. Right now, I know this is almost 9 frames covered just by looking at the amount of bees. And I could just add my super, but what I want to do is make sure of the time that I have to wait before I add the super on, because man, you don't want to spoil your honey. You'll do all of this work to get honey, and then it has a thymol taste, which is like a chemical. It tastes like a chemical. It smells, and then you can't sell that. That's contaminated honey. So what I'm going to do is read the label again. I remember, but I don't have it in my head how long you're supposed to wait after the treatment before you add the honey supers, because it tells you you cannot treat with this treatment with the honey supers on. And that's what they mean. You can't have any honey supers on if you're going to use that treatment. So what you have to do is read your labels, whether you use oxalic acid, Formic Pro, thymol, and there's a couple more I can't think off my head right now. You have to read the label. Like I know Formic Pro and oxalic acid, you can treat them with the honey supers on. That's why I'm using those in my big hive. So I thank you for joining me today again, and I hope this video have been informative to you. And if you like it, please give me a like, subscribe to my channel, and if you have any topics or questions that you'd like to ask, if I can answer it, I will. If I can't, I'll get the answer for you. And I'm not a beekeeper that knows everything. My way is not the only way. You have to try your bees. You have to test your bees and see what works for your bees. I'm just showing you what I do here in my apiary and what I like about the things I do. You can use a solid inner cover. That might work better for you. Or you can use the migratory cover with the bubble wrap underneath. That might work for you, but I'm down in Florida in West Palm Beach and it's hot and humid, so I want things that air can circulate through and the bees don't have to do a whole lot of fanning and stressing themselves out with maintaining the temperature. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful Friday. Again, as I always say, peace, love, joy, and happiness.